Sometimes I think the hardest part about changing your life is realizing how attached your nervous system still is to the version of you that says she wants to leave it. Yes, friend, I know that I have been there, and I know that you have been there because you can consciously want more for yourself, a different relationship, a different reality, more peace, more abundance, more alignment, and still find yourself emotionally reacting in the same ways, returning to the same patterns, tolerating the same things, or pulling back the moment your life starts asking you to actually hold something different. And I think that's the part that creates so much frustration and anger and disappointment for everyone, for every single one of us, because a part of you knows you're no longer the same person, but another part of you still feels emotionally tied to what's familiar, even when what's familiar is the very thing you've been trying to outgrow. And if you've been feeling that internal pull lately, where one part of you wants expansion while another part of you keeps resisting it, this episode is probably going to hit very deeply. But before we move into the episode, which is going to be amazing, I want to remind you that tomorrow, May 20th, which is Wednesday, tomorrow, May 20th, I'm hosting a free live workshop called Step into Alignment, because what we're talking about today isn't just mindset. It's the space where your identity, your nervous system, your emotions, and your reality stop fully matching each other anymore. And that can feel deeply uncomfortable when you don't understand what's happening inside of you. This workshop is for you if you know that you're no longer who you're used to be, but also you know you have not fully stabilized into this version of yourself yet. This is the work. We're going to be moving from awareness into embodiment, from understanding the patterns intellectually into actually becoming coherent with the life you say you want. So, if you've been feeling yourself in this conversation already, I'm going to leave all the details for you to register to the Step into Alignment workshop in the show notes. It's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, May 20th at noon Eastern Standard Time, and it's completely free, so make sure to register. Okay, now let's get into today's topic. Welcome to Rewire to Align, a space where we break the patterns keeping you stuck and bring your brain, nervous system, and energy back into coherence. I'm Michelle Murray, neurospiritual alignment coach and creator of Align. This is where neuroscience meets spirituality and where you stop overthinking and start understanding what's actually driving your reality. If you're ready to see yourself clearly and finally shift what's been looping, you're in the right place. Hello, friend. Welcome back to Rewire to Align. I am Michelle Marie, and every Tuesday we come here to talk about alignment, the coherence between your thoughts, your nervous system, your energy, and your actions, so you can create a life you not only desire, but actually have the capacity to hold and sustain. This is going to be episode 78, and you're going to find it under the manifestation category inside the episode catalog that is going to be linked in the show notes. I want to say thank you if you are taking the time to leave me a review, either here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your comments and reviews on YouTube. This is how you support me at no cost and how you help me grow this podcast. And if you're here for the very first time, welcome, amiga mia. I'm really happy that you found your way here, and I hope these conversations help you understand yourself a little more deeply and bring you back into greater alignment with who you truly are. And I also encourage you to share this episode or any other episodes you enjoyed with your friends and with your family. Okay, I knew that this was a conversation I needed to have with you because you can consciously want a different life so deeply, right? We look at it, we look at our lives and we know that there is always room to grow, but we still feel emotionally pulled back. We pull back into the exact same patterns, reactions, fears, and realities that you say you're trying to leave behind. And that creates so much internal frustration, sometimes anger or disappointment, even bitterness, because a part of you already knows you have changed. You know you see things different now. You know you cannot go fully to the version that used to tolerate certain things. And yet, another part of you, I don't know, is still there and is still reacting from the same emotional conditioning the moment uncertainty, discomfort, or the unfamiliar shows up. So, what happens is that you start questioning yourself. You start wondering why alignment feels uncomfortable, why your reality hasn't shifted yet. Why is it taking so long? Why part of you wants expansion while another part of you seems terrified of that same expansion? And what I really want you to understand today is that this doesn't automatically mean something is wrong with you. You are not broken. I've told you this a million times. And this is something that we all go through at one point or another, especially when we are growing, when we are expanding. Sometimes what you're experiencing is the internal tension that happens when your identity is changing faster than your nervous system feels safe holding. Let that land, because that's the truth. And if you've been feeling that pull lately, this is going to be an episode that is going to explain a lot. And I love to start with a story. And honestly, I can see this happening inside of me in real time. I've seen it happen because even though I teach this work and practice this work, and I deeply understand so much of what I speak about here, and I teach you and I apply it in my life, I've been noticing this very specific tension inside of me lately around my coaching business and stepping more fully into visibility and success, because this is fairly a new thing for me, right? I've been in it for a little bit and then I took a pause because of my cancer journey, and then I come back. And this isn't to say I've never built anything before. I mean, I spent over 20 years building businesses in real estate and in hospitality, a lot in hospitality. I've been leading teams. I've been doing it in real estate, in hospitality, in production. I've been carrying a lot of responsibility. I've navigated pressure. I mean, I have made things happen. So it's interesting to me because consciously, I know I'm ready for more. I know the depth of the work that I do. I know the transformations that happen inside my containers. I've studied it, I've practiced, I've coached for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. I've built frameworks. Hello, my align process. I've created this beautiful podcast that you tune in every week. Tomorrow I'm doing the workshop, right? I created that as well. I wrote a book that if you haven't checked out, please make sure to check out. But I can still feel the part of me that tightens around being deeply seen in this work. And I'm a human design 2-4 profile. So if you know human design, you know that the 2 is the hermit. And the hermit likes to be left alone. So part of that is that I understand. And what is interesting is that I noticed such a contrast between the way I was moving through this internally and the way my husband moved through his own transition this past year. And last week episode 77, talks about identity shifts and the pressure of identity shifts. And also, I speak about his story, so make sure that you tune into that episode so that you understand what I'm talking about. Because while I could feel myself overthinking at times, emotionally going back and forth around expansion and visibility, and sometimes I still do. Hello, Instagram. He almost didn't have space to do that. There was too much pressure, friend. There was the financial pressure because we are a family of 4 and I was going through cancer, right? That responsibility to take care of his family. The pause that I had to take due to my cancer journey. Closing our business at the same time that my cancer was diagnosed. Like after 20 years of being in business, we closed our business. And he needing to step into something completely different. He wasn't sitting there waiting for proof. This is what blew my mind. He was not questioning whether he could do it. He just leaped. He just moved. And watching him move so quickly made me realize that sometimes pressure forces identity shifts to happen faster because there's less space to emotionally negotiate with the old version of yourself. Let that land because this is one of the golden nuggets of the episode. And I will repeat that watching my husband leap into that identity and stepping into it so fast made me realize that sometimes pressure forces identity shifts to happen faster because there's less space to emotionally negotiate with the old version of yourself. And what's happening in moments like this is something called cognitive dissonance, which is basically the internal tension your mind and body experience when your current emotional patterns no longer fully match the reality you say you want. Basically, you say you want one thing, but you show something else. And I think this is why so many people become frustrated or angry or, I don't know, disappointed or bitter with themselves during periods of growth. Because consciously, you can know you're ready for more. You can know you've outgrown all the patterns in the world that you recognize. You can know you cannot fully go back to the version of you that used to tolerate certain things, certain behaviors, right? But emotionally, your nervous system may still feel safer in what's familiar, even when what's familiar is no longer aligned for you. Yes, even when that happens. And this is where you start seeing that internal split happen and that tension that you say, oh my God, I don't understand why I feel like this. You want to post the thing? That's me. I want to post the thing and then I talk myself out of it. You know, that 2-4 profile that I told you earlier. You want more visibility, but then you tied up the moment you're deeply seen. You say you want more abundance, but when it's coming your way, you feel yourself contracting because life is asking you to hold more responsibility, more attention, more success. You want a healthier relationship, but the moment that the universe sends you the perfect partner or the partner that is treating you better, emotionally you pull back because it's not what you know. It's not the familiarity that you know. And after a while, that internal back and forth becomes exhausting. Tell me if you're not exhausting when this happens, especially when you know you're growing. And this is where the law of resonance connects so deeply to this conversation. Because whether we realize it or not, We tend to emotionally resonate with what feels most familiar to our nervous system, to our subconscious mind, and to our identity, not necessarily what we consciously desire. And I've told you, your brain is not here to make you happy, it's here to keep you safe. And I think, honestly, this is where manifestation is often misunderstood online, or maybe they forget to teach you this because people are taught that changing their reality is just about thinking positive or wanting something badly enough and put it in the vision board and affirm it every day, while completely ignoring the emotional and nervous system patterns that are still resonating underneath everything. Your nervous system is always, friend, always paying attention to what feels emotionally known. And go to all my Neuroessentials podcast episodes so that you can understand how this works in your brain. And when I am saying that your nervous system is always paying attention to what feels emotionally known, means you can consciously want a different life while still emotionally reacting from the same pattern that keep recreating the old one. And this is why alignment can feel so uncomfortable at times. And this is why we always ask ourselves, but why am I still here in this moment again? Why is this happening to me again? Why, if I know that I need to break the pattern, why is this happening again? That again, that is why. Because the moment your internal world starts changing, your mind, your emotions, your nervous system, and identity are all trying to reorganize themselves around something that is not familiar to them. It's not familiar. New equals unfamiliar. And if you don't understand what's happening there, you're going to start making your discomfort mean that you're failing. And you're going to start thinking, well, maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I'm not meant to have abundance. Maybe I am not meant to have the perfect relationship. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm forcing. Maybe I'm pushing. You start going crazy in your head. Yes or no? When sometimes what's actually happening is that your internal world is trying to stop resonating with a reality that no longer fully matches who you are anymore. And that's why this work is so much deeper than mindset. It is so much deeper than mindset, because alignment is not about thinking differently. It's not. It's about becoming coherent. You have to have coherence in your thoughts, in your emotions, in what you can hold, in your nervous system, right? In your energy and your actions. And it has to be long enough for your reality to stop reflecting the old version of you back to yourself. And honestly, friend, looking back, I can see this so clearly in both my husband and I this past year. Same uncertainty, same pressure, but two completely different relationships to identity, familiarity, and emotional safety. He moved quick because he had the pressure, right? He didn't have time to think. I moved slower because I overthink myself. So make sure that you understand this. And if this conversation has been resonating with you deeply, I would really love to invite you tomorrow to step into alignment. It's going to be a workshop live at noon Eastern Standard Time by Zoom. So you'll have a Zoom link once you register. It's completely free, and it's going to be a really beautiful space to slow down, to reconnect with yourself, and to go deeper into the work of alignment and through my align process in a much more intentional way. So if you've been feeling called into deeper support, deeper clarity, or simply a space to reconnect with yourself more honestly, or to get to know me, I'm going to leave all the details for you in the show notes so that you can register and be with me tomorrow. Remember, Wednesday, May 20th at noon. Beautiful soul, I think if there's one thing I really want you to take from this conversation, that we just had is that just because part of you still feels uncomfortable, uncertain, or emotionally pulled toward what's familiar, it doesn't automatically mean you're failing or that you're moving in the wrong direction. Sometimes what you're experiencing is cognitive dissonance, that internal tension that happens when the life you consciously want and the identity your nervous system is still emotionally attached to are no longer fully matching each other anymore. That's it. And this is really the deeper conversation behind the law of resonance, because whatever your nervous system or your emotions, identity, subconscious mind continue resonating with most deeply, that is going to often be the reality you're going to keep creating. Listen, not because you're incapable of change, but because your system, your emotions, your subconscious mind, your actions are always trying to keep you safe, to create coherence with what feels most familiar. I know I repeat it a lot because this is what's going to stick, and I know it's going to help you. And I think so many of us spend years trying to change our lives externally without realizing that internally we're still emotionally negotiating with parts of ourselves that are no longer welcome in the journey. They're older versions of us. We can thank them and say goodbye. Versions built around fear, around pressure, around disappointment, survival, rejection, invisibility. Whatever once felt necessary in order to feel safe or feel love or feel that you belong. So, as you move through your week, just notice where this might be showing up in your own life. Where are you consciously wanting one thing while emotionally resonating with another one? Where are you saying you want expansion while still reacting from an identity that feels safer staying where it is? And if this episode resonated with you, I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts, your aha moments, your comments, your realizations, or even the contradictions you've been noticing inside yourself lately. You can share them with me inside our private Facebook community, Rewire to Align. You can send me a message on Instagram at Michelle Maripacheco, or you can leave a comment if you're listening on YouTube, because I'm there, or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are listening to me, because I think these are conversations we need to start having more honestly. And maybe the most important thing from all that we have been here talking about today, the most important thing to remember is this: alignment is not just about what you consciously desire. It's about what finally feels safe enough for you to fully receive. I am sending you so much love, friend, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow inside the workshop. If this landed, then you're already starting to see what's been running beneath the surface. And if you're ready to actually shift it, not just understand it, this is the work we do inside coaching. DM me on Instagram at Michelle Maripacheco, and we'll talk about what that could look like for you. I'll see you in the next episode.